Hello, everyone. I've got a question for you. What if success wasn't about choosing one path, but creating your own with elegance, impact, and intention? Welcome to Seizing Your Greatness. I'm Julianne Meyer, and today's guest is a visionary who's built a career and a movement on redefining what leadership looks like and feels like. Dharmi Shah is a globally recognized, award winning entrepreneur, speaker, and author, among other things. As the founder of the Corporate Experience, she curates transformative marketing journeys for businesses that want to grow with heart. She's also the powerhouse behind Refresh and Revitalize, an award winning coaching brand dedicated to empowering women and creating a space where connection meets elevation. Whether she's leading conversations on burnout, clarity, or legacy, Dharmi blends strategy with soul and brings her signature elegance to everything that she touches. From elite event production to unforgettable coaching experiences, she reminds us that leadership can be both fierce and feminine. Dharmi, I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm finally we get to have this conversation. We have been trying to make this happen for a minute. So I'm so grateful.
Me too.
Life just happens sometimes. And that's kind of what being a leader is kind of rolling with what's actually happening and stepping into that power and being able to move forward. And so I'm just curious, you've got an amazing story, and I just love anyone who can step into the entrepreneurial leadership role that like you have and do it with such grace and dignity. It's not the easiest thing in the world, especially as a woman. And I just so appreciate you. I'm curious though, because people can find you on the internet. What's something that people can't find out about you if they look you up online?
Oh, there's so much. One of the things they absolutely will not find about me, most likely, maybe in some interviews, is my love for wine.
Ooh, I
I
like
have a
that.
very strong love for wine. One day I want to have a winery. That's the retirement plan. One day I want to have a wine bar.
I love that. Yeah, I haven't had wine in so long because I stopped drinking, but I got to tell you, there's just something about it that it's just like discovering the notes and the flavors that I truly loved and appreciated. So I I really like hearing that that is a goal of yours. But in the meantime, in before we get you on the winery, uh, tell us a little bit about your journey into becoming a coach.
Sure. My journey started with event production, and it transformed into working with businesses through activations, um, through just growing their business authentically and not necessarily focusing on social media marketing, but more so on relationship marketing, experiential marketing, and that also then transformed into Refresh and Revitalize. So between the corporate experience, which is more so the corporate brand of experiential and relationship marketing, I then started Refresh and Revitalize, which is more of the life coaching brand. Um, I started working with individuals who were experiencing just daily obstacles to career changes, or just wanted, in one person's words, a more dynamic life. And so I've helped them kind of power through their struggles and get them to a place where they're either switching careers or maybe just growing in their own life.
I love that, and I like that name too because it's not necessarily about changing everything as you mentioned, but also just like how can you get the most out of what you have and what you're trying to create. And what would be one of your favorite sort of, I don't know, like aha moments that maybe you've experienced personally through coaching?
Sure. I have had quite a few aha moments. I would say one of the biggest ones was more recently in the past year, where I had met a group of people at an event in London, and I really thought that the reason I was there, I'm always looking for why am I here? The
Mhm.
whys of why was I placed in this moment? And in doing that, I was able to connect with some wonderful, powerful women who had a strong voice, who were so great in working with me on some of the goals that I had. And we just were able to build a few different things together. And now we're still in touch. And there are women that I'm working with on different projects that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And it really came through this strong connection that happened pretty much overnight. You know, before I went there, I wasn't thinking about it. And then all of a sudden, like this beautiful thing happened, and it made me open my eyes and say, everyone you meet in your life is a connection or a relationship for some other purpose in your life.
I really love that because a lot of us tend to focus. I'm going to like, when I say us, I'm going to refer to me. So I know, but I know I'm not alone. There's been so many situations where I've kind of been like, well, that was a waste of time, or, and I don't necessarily appreciate it, or I can't even see the golden nugget that's right in front of me because it didn't look the way I thought it was going to. And therefore I didn't have the experience that I was expecting, and snowball effect. And I'm why am I even here? So I love that you're asking better questions because then you get better answers. Uh, you know, Here's the thing that I'm just thinking about too is like with refresh and revitalize, just even in that name, you know, I personally have I'm the kind of person where I tend to start fresh and start over on a fairly regular basis. But what would be like the first sign to look, or is there to look at yourself in your own life and see if maybe you don't need to change everything, but maybe tweak or alter certain things in order to get what you truly want for yourself?
Sure. I don't believe that any one of us needs to change everything about who we are. We are who we are. We are authentic selves, and that's great. Sometimes we just need a little tweaking. It's like getting an oil change. Sometimes we just need to tweak a little bit. And it's not about change, it's about being able to get what you want.
Hmm.
What is your purpose? What is the impact and footprint that you are trying to leave on the world? If you don't feel like you have purpose or that you feel good about yourself, then it's to make some tweaks and changes.
I like that. And if I'm hearing you correctly, we're not broken. I love that because especially as women, I think that we're kind of taught that there's these things that are wrong with us and we have to change them versus accepting the differences and celebrating them and maybe leaning into certain things versus trying to change the core and the essence of who we are by making ourselves, because we've made ourselves wrong. But how do you, even though this is something that you talk about and teach, there's got to be times when, yeah, you kind of get stuck in that kind of mentality. So how do you change your stinking thinking whenever that pops up?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of times people think that coaches are perfect. Like, you figure it out. I wish I could tell you I have it all figured out. I absolutely do not have it all figured out. Every day, I'm just trying to be a better Dharmi than I was yesterday. And that's what I tell everybody. Like, let's not focus on what you're supposed to be 10 years from now. Let's
Mhm.
just talk about in the next 20 minutes or tomorrow. What's something you can do tomorrow that's going to help you get to your end goal? And not in a year, but just tomorrow. So when I'm going through my moments, which I do frequently, I'm an overthinker. That's my biggest flaw. I'm always overthinking. Like, "Oh, are you mad at me? Oh, no, you rolled your eyes. Did I say something?" I'm that person, and I'm still that person.
Yeah.
But tomorrow I say, "Okay, I'm not gonna do that tomorrow." Tomorrow comes, I do it again, and then I try to make the same goal for the following day, and eventually I'll get there.
So what I'm hearing too is kind of like progress, not perfection. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, and showing yourself that grace because yeah, it's not if it doesn't serve you, you may want to change it, but also not making yourself wrong when you fall shorter than the goal that you've intended for yourself. I
Especially
love
in business, nothing goes as planned.
yeah.
Things are constantly changing. So let's just flow with it. Let's
Yeah.
just go with it and not plan all the changes we have to make overnight.
I really like that too because it never looks the you miss the magic. If you do that, you miss the magic that's happening. I'm curious one of my coaches said to me a long time ago, and I didn't appreciate it fully because I hadn't started really on my entrepreneurial journey yet. But he said it costs more than you think and takes longer than you thought it would. What would be a piece of advice that you would give to an entrepreneur?
Do it. That's it.
I love it.
Just do it. You
Just
know, the
do
biggest
it.
problem I see, yeah, just do it. Every Nike was onto something. Just do it. Um, you know, that's all it is. Just everyone wants to sit and make a plan and business plans are great. I'm all about them. Make a business plan, put pencil to paper. There's nothing like writing things down. When you
Yeah,
write it down, it becomes real. Typing is different. It's just different to me.
it
Like,
is.
write it down. And I tell all entrepreneurs, whatever your thoughts are, let's start with paper. Just write it down. And then we'll start to grow from there. You'll start to grow slowly. It's not going to happen overnight. So, any entrepreneur who thinks, like, okay, I have this fascinating idea and it's all going to work out tomorrow, it's just not. So, what I tell everybody is just do it. Just
Yeah,
start somewhere. Most entrepreneurs stop at just calling themselves an entrepreneur without
yeah.
anything because they're just too afraid to take the next step. So take the next step, do it.
I like that because and that's where that overthinking can take a back seat too. When we're so busy making the plans and getting ready to get ready.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. There's a person I know that does, he talks about the near death experience in entrepreneurship. And that's, that moment or moments, because usually there's way more than one where you're about to give up, like turn in the keys to whatever and just be like, forget it, I'm done. But you just keep going through it. And it's like, you get through to the other side. Have you had one of those moments?
Absolutely. I had that moment when I was first starting my production company. And I was doing weddings for free just to
Oh, wow.
get the business, just to get my name out there. Then I started charging $300 and that grew. And there was a point when I said, why am I doing this? Like, I'm barely getting anything out of this. It's my first year. And I guess in my eyes, as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, I thought that I would be like, really making money, like six figures in a year with my business as a production company. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Um, and at that point, I totally wanted to give up. And then I started to see that events were starting to flow. They were coming in. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it for another year. And so I continued to do it. And let me tell you, 20 years later, I had been doing the high end, upscale, high profile corporate events, weddings, et cetera, et cetera. And I wouldn't have gotten there if I gave up.
I think that that's a really important piece of advice for people that are starting out. I know that I've been guilty of it and I still kind of am to this day, but I figure it's a success if I break even. Like in the beginning, if I can break even, I'm like, woohoo!
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. What's something that you would say to an entrepreneur maybe that might coach them through one of those moments that like just like what's something that they could do for themselves in order to change their thinking? And what I mean by that is like I don't know, journaling or whatever. What would be your piece of advice?
So like I said, pen to paper.
Pen to
I
paper.
want you to write down why you want to give up and why you decided to even take the step to begin with. And
Mhm.
through that, people will realize, well, I did this because, let's just call it coaching. I wanted to be a coach because I want to impact others, or
Mhm.
I want to be a speaker because I want to impact others. I have a voice that I want to share. That's great. Well, tomorrow I won't give up. I'm going to go back, write it down, and say what my reason was. What's naturally going to happen is that energy is going to come back.
I love
And
that.
when the energy starts to come back, that scary moment of I want to give up or imposter syndrome is going to start to go away because you've re-energized or revitalized what your original point was of even
Mhm.
starting the business that you're starting.
Yeah, I feel almost kinda like you're talking to me right now, even though I'm not, like, in the beginning stages of anything at the moment, but, it's just that reminder that you don't have to stay on that train of thought that's negative or in those feelings, and I don't know why I keep on harping on it, but I just love this pen to paper or pencil to paper. Either way, it doesn't matter as long as you're writing it down. It does really
Yeah.
help change things. Now, you've done so many different things with the through line of impact. That seems to be, at least from an outsider looking in, that you just want to create a difference in the world. And I'm curious, of all the things that you have going right now, what would be your favorite project?
My favorite project right now is Refresh and Revitalize, where I am speaking on stage. I you want to talk about scary things? That's a scary one.
Yeah.
Uh, Taking the stage and really finding your place in it and taking up that space, um, and coaching, and they all kind of go together. But the main purpose is to help people get a lasting impact.
Mm.
So my project, it's my passion too, and it's been the most fun thing I've done in a very long time.
I don't know too many people who would say that it's fun to um, be on stage in front of people. So I love that
The challenge is fun.
exactly. Well, that's a good way to look at it too, because it's kind of like fear. How does it show up in your body? It's kind of like the same sort of feeling as excitement. So, how can you change that as well? So, I like that idea. Um, you know, for anybody that's like just sort of, actually, no, what I'd like to ask you as a coach, because I have my own thoughts on this one, is why is it important to have a coach?
It's important to have a coach to help guide you in a positive direction because I don't care who you are, we are all going to have moments of negativity,
Mhm.
either toxic people in our life that bring that on to us. Unfortunately, not everybody in the world is going to be happy for you. So it's nice to have a coach who's always your cheerleader and
Mhm.
who's going to push you through that toxicity and negativity. But it's also nice to have someone that you just run your ideas by and your thoughts by who is not judging you or who isn't a friend or family member. Sometimes we get a little too in depth with conversation with our friends and family. And
Uh-huh.
all we need is someone who's a third party, who's not part of our life to help guide us. And I think in life, everybody needs a coach. And in life, I think we've all had coaches,
Mhm.
whether it had been a parent or, a sports coach or a teacher, but there's always been a coach in most of our lives. And now I think it's just a matter of streamlining that coaching and be able to find somebody who fits within the mold of what you're trying to create.
I really like that. And how do you know when you're ready for something bigger? Because is it just a feeling, or is there certain signs that people can see, or is it just like all internal? I mean, there's so many people. We're taught to look outside of ourselves for everything. So how do you learn to trust yourself that maybe that it is time?
I believe it's a feeling. I remember about a year and a half ago or so sitting on my couch just thinking like, what am I doing sometimes? I can do more. I can be more. And that's when I started talking to myself about speaking. I'm still new to the speaking space. So that was my moment of like, I can do more. I can be more. I can impact more people. I can make a big difference in the lives of entrepreneurs as well as the lives of women who are looking for empowerment and growth.
Mhm.
And I think it just is something within you. People are really happy being in the place they're in, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody has to have this huge feeling of impact and wanting to change the world. Like, I don't think that's necessary. Everybody is where they are, because that's where they should be. And
Mhm.
if you're not where you are supposed to be, you're going to eventually get that feeling like there's more to it.
It's the itch. I'm glad that you brought that up because I think that especially with me, I have a feeling that sometimes when I talk that people think I'm trying to make them wrong for being happy with their lives. I'm not. I want to give permission to those that want more or something different to maybe look into that. Do you find that as a coach that that's something that you kind of coach into is kind of like giving people permission to it to be great?
Absolutely. People a lot of times are coming to a coach for that kind of permission, for someone to tell them that what they want to do is possible and feasible. And to be honest, there are also moments where I have to tell people that what they are looking to do, it may not be feasible,
Mhm.
not because the idea isn't good, but because maybe the financial resources aren't there. If you're trying to invent a product, for instance, there's going to be a little bit more of an investment in there versus a service industry project. If you're going for something that's more service industry, you might not need a huge investment. So we also have to be realistic in what we are trying to accomplish and how to get there. That doesn't mean that you can't get there. It just means that maybe there are other steps you have to take first to get there. So permission, I think, is a big part of it. Like, hey, I love your idea. Think it's great. I want to help you get there, but let's really get pen on paper and see how we're going to get there.
I really like that. I feel inspired, so thank you for that. We are almost out of time, and I want to ask you my favorite question because I feel like we barely scratched the surface. Uh, what's something you wish I would have asked you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Oh man, I don't know if there is anything.
Well, then how about what would
The
be
dog's
something you'd
name,
like
my
to
dog is my heart and soul. So Brody. Now the world knows Brody. Actually, I can think of something. My passion projects. I really love philanthropic work. I really love to give back to the world. So that is always something that I am willing to talk about, chat about. I'm a part of a few different organizations,
I
and
love
there's one that I eventually will want to open myself as well. So that would probably be my only one.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I've been popping up your website a couple times on the show, and I'm curious because you mentioned to me privately that this is kind of where people can really find everything about you in one stop shop. Is there anything in particular that you want people to maybe notice when they go to your website?
Well, I would want them to be inspired by the fact that on one website are multiple websites essentially.
Mhm.
Down at the bottom, you'll see all of my Instagrams, my social media handles, and it takes you to different parts of my life, whether that be the corporate experience or refresh and revitalize. And through that, you'll also see a little bit more about me
Uh-huh.
and get to know me a little bit better. So my website has really become the place where you go for all things business and coaching related. And I'm always available to people just to chat with on Facebook or on Instagram. So yeah, my website's pretty much me.
I love that. And as somebody who's been on there stalking you, it's pretty cool, people. So go take a look.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
Dharmi, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. You're an absolute pleasure. I'm glad we finally got to have our conversation. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And for those of you that are watching, thanks for being here today. We'll be back again next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.